Music in the morning. Hey, welcome back. Another episode of Ty's Music in the Morning. A little tired today, but let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to break down Metaflange from Waves, ins and outs. You can really add some great vibes to any song with Metaflange. I use it on every single track that I do. You can use just a little bit, you can use a lot. There's different things you can do. Let's go ahead and dive right in and see what we can get going. Alright, so today we're going to go over a song that I got with a homie of mine, Captino. It's actually going to be dropping here in the next few weeks. Let's go ahead and give you a little sample of what it sounds like.
This is Santa's prayer, forgive me all of my past transgressions. Counting this money, thank him for all of my blessings. If it falls through in time, I know that you're testing. All the sleepless nights, tossing, turning, so restless. Running up this guala.
Alright, so let's break down what exactly we got going on here. Kind of simple, kind of complicated looking plugin, but when you know what you're doing, you can really make it work. So hear what it sounds like without it. It's not something super drastic, but you can definitely hear the difference.
This is Santa's prayer, forgive me all of my past transgressions. Counting this money, thank him for all of my blessings. If it falls through in time, I know that you're testing. All the sleepless nights, tossing, turning, so restless. Running up the...
So you can tell that it gives it a nice little, just some movement. Let's go ahead and kind of break some things down. You know, obviously your mix is how much you're wanting the plug-in to come in. Feedback, you can really adjust that, make it real kind of crunchy sounding, which this one for me is turned up a little high. Typically on a cleaner sounding song, around 4 to 8. Let's go ahead and I'll give a little example of that.
This is Santa's prayer, forgive me all of my past transgressions. Counting this money, thank him for all of my blessings. If it falls through in time, I know that you're testing. All the sleepless nights, tossing, turning, so restless. Running up this guala like a rat to some cheese. Running to the bank, if you cross me, gon' bleed.
Just that little extra feedback there gives a little crunch that I personally like. I like a good polished sound, but I like a little grit with it too. That's just kind of the essence that I go for. Then you got this filter frequency type down here. You can change this back and forth. So if you have it on this one, if you want it to really come through, you got to turn it down. And I'll show you an example of each.
Santa's prayer, forgive me all of my past transgressions. Counting this money, thank him for all of my blessings.
See, you turn it up there, it doesn't really sound too good. With that being said, if you go the opposite way, notice as I turn it down what it does. You'll get like a nice little like telephone effect out of it.
Santa's prayer, forgive me all of my past transgressions. Counting this money, thank him for all of my blessings. If it falls through in time, I know that you're testing. All the sleepless nights, tossing, turning, so restless.
So you could use that on like an interlude or like something like maybe an intro coming in, even outro. It's a nice little technique, give you a little variance on that part. But then the delay here, I believe it's supposed to be a delay of how long it's taking for the modulation to kick in. But I notice the more you turn it up, the more bold that your actual sound becomes. So
Santa's prayer, forgive me all of my past transgressions. Counting this money, thank him for all of my blessings. If it falls through in time, I know that you're testing. All the sleepless nights, tossing, turning, so restless. Running up this guala like a rat to some cheese.
Which if it's something that's a little more rappy, this is more melodic for me. If it's turned up more, it gives a little punch. But I like that it's down, it lets it resonate just a little bit more instead of just being like clamped down. But then if you go down here into the rate, that's how much modulation you're going. Typically, I don't really go too overboard, but I'll show you an extreme of one or the other. If you go overboard, it's going to be way too much. It ain't going to be pleasing to the ear at all, but I'll give you a little technique.
Santa's prayer, forgive me all of my past transgressions. Counting this money, thank him for all of my blessings. If it falls through in time, I know that you're testing. All the sleepless nights, tossing, turning, so restless. Running up this guala like a rat to some cheese. Running to the bank.
So you can see when you really turn it up, it's just too much. For me personally, it's about finding that middle ground. If you're watching the modulation through here, I like just a slow, steady sweep. And then if you go down to the bottom here on the depth, that's like your width, how much you're wanting it to go out. Because like if you turn it way down, it's going to stay within that range. Or you can max it and have it going all the way to the edges. Then if you go up here to the waveform, you got the triangle or the, I don't know how to say that, to be honest. Sin. But I'll show you the difference of the two. I like the triangle. That's typically what I use.
This is sinner's prayer. Forgive me all of my past transgressions. Counting this money, thankful for all of my blessings. If it falls through in time, I know that you're testing. All the sleepless nights, toss and turn, so rest.
On the second one, let's just call it smooth because slightly illiterate. You can notice it just kind of smooths it out, but I like the edginess of the triangle personally. And then a lot of times, well, really always, I keep my stereo in the center, but you can get a little different sound by widening that too.
This is sinner's prayer. Forgive me all of my past transgressions. Counting this money, thankful for all of my blessings. If it falls through and
that's where you can really come in and get like a phaser effect. I don't really use it for that too often. Like I said, how I use the Metaflange is just to get a little bit of movement behind my vocals or with my vocals, and it sits nicely in the mix. It gives a little bit of feeling. It's not just boom, blunt. But like I said earlier, I just basically use the Metaflange to give a little bit of movement to my vocals. It's a little sway, a little extra vibe, instead of just boom, sitting flat on the mix. But, mixing that with your reverb and your delay just creates some nice body, nice little vibe. But I mean, if you want to get experimental with it and really warp some stuff, maybe on some ad-libs, it might come in sick. I just don't really mess with it too often like that. I have a couple other methods that I'll use on my ad-libs, and it's definitely not with the Metaflange. But if you're getting creative, you can do anything you want to do. There's not one set method to anything with this music stuff, but that's the Metaflange. Glad I could help. Any questions, comments, concerns, leave them in the comments below. But once again, thank you for all the subscribers. Every video I drop, I get a few more. It's just, let's grow. Let's build together like I always say. It's Ty bringing you radio quality music from home. Catch you next week.